Hey guys, it's been a long time since we have talked. I figured saw a couple of videos that I wanted to share with you guys today that really moved me. That I thought, you know what, it's time to do a vlog again. It's time to do some serious talk, not just catching birds. Many years ago, when I was a kid and I first got a car, um, I was driving and I had accidentally cut somebody off. I remember thinking to myself, "Oh shit, I cut this guy off," and my ADD. It's a pretty typical thing to do, right? Dangerous. Stay away from me on the road. Anyway, I cut the guy off, and I remember pulling to the gas station, seeing this guy pull up, and I knew he was pissed. And I was like, "Oh, geez, here we go." So I remember thinking to myself, "There's two ways I can play this. I could scream back some hatred, or I could say something different, right?" So I thought, let's try the other way. Let's try the good way and see what happens. So he comes pulling up, and he says, "You motherfucker! I'm gonna fucking kick your ass! You cut me off, you son of a bitch!" Right? All this horrendous shit, right? I remember I looked back to him and I said, "You are absolutely right, sir. It was completely my fault. God bless you. I'm sorry." And remember the guy just went, he didn't know what to say. Like he just stared at me like, then he just drove off. Right? And I remember thinking to myself, wow, boy, did that work. I think he didn't expect that. I think what he wanted me to say was, "F you." And then he would say, "F you." Next thing you know, we'd be fighting, beating the shit at each other, right? But I completely threw him off with a comment that was based off of love. It was, not exactly genuine love, but it wasn't hate. Let's put it that way. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and he has one of my favorite quotes of all time, and it is, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." And that was Dr. King's saying, which is very powerful. Which leads me to the video I am about to play you, which proves how powerful love can be, right? Many of you guys know Robert Kennedy, right? He was John F. Kennedy's brother, who was assassinated, we all know. Well, many years later, actually it was April 4th, 1968, he was running for presidential candidate, and he happened to be in Indianapolis, Indiana, the night that he found out, and everyone found out that King had been killed. Well, you can actually hear him. It's pretty haunting how he asked the guys if the crowd knew, and he was actually in an all African American neighborhood, and they were warning Mr. Kennedy that they couldn't really protect him there, and if he wanted to make the announcement and tell everybody what had happened to Dr. King, he could, but he was at his own risk. Well, anyway, in this speech you're about to hear, I'm going to play for you, it was an impromptu. He just kind of made it up on the fly. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you. I'm not going to put music to it and all that crap. I just want you to hear it raw. But the point is that many of the other major cities in the country that night broke out into riots. All of them except one, and it was Indianapolis. And a lot of people, give credit to this speech he was about to give. And this speech is based on love, which is what Martin Luther King was all about. And that's why I kind of liked him so much. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And this speech is very powerful. Not only is it powerful, but I think it was 63 days later, Robert Kennedy was killed himself. Anyway, with that in mind, here is Robert Kennedy's speech, unedited. And leave me a comment below and tell me what you thought of Martin Luther King. All right? We will talk later. And I'm going to vlog more soon. All right, guys. Bye.
Do they know about Martin Luther King?
We have left it up to your own belief that can be handled.
Could you lower those signs, please? I have some very sad news for all of you, and that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis. Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort. In this difficult day, in this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in. For those of you who are black, considering the evidence evidently is that there were white people who were responsible, you can be filled with bitterness and with hatred and a desire for revenge. We can move in that direction as a country, in greater polarization, black people amongst blacks and white amongst whites, filled with hatred toward one another. Or we can make an effort, as Martin Luther King did, to understand and to comprehend and replace that violence, that stain of bloodshed that has spread across our land, with an effort to understand compassion and love. For those of you who are black and are tempted to be filled with hatred and mistrust of the injustice of such an act against all white people, I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. I had a member of my family killed, but he was killed by a white man. But we have to make an effort in the United States. We have to make an effort to understand, to get beyond or go beyond these rather difficult times. My favorite poem, my favorite poet was Aeschylus. And he once wrote, "Even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God." What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another, feeling of justice toward those who still suffer within our country, whether they be white or whether they be black. We can do well in this country. We will have difficult times. We've had difficult times in the past, but we will have difficult times in the future. It is not the end of violence. It is not the end of lawlessness, and it's not the end of disorder. But the vast majority of white people and the vast majority of black people in this country want to live together, want to improve the quality of our life, and want justice for all human beings that abide in our land. And what dedicate ourselves to what the Greeks wrote so many years ago, to tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of this world. Let us dedicate ourselves to that and say a prayer for our country and for our people. Thank you very much.